Hello, welcome to Pro Mixing and Mastering, and today I want to teach you on how to master your song for any platform, to make your song play on radios, on cassette players, CD players, MP3 players. That includes phones, car radios, house, home theaters, and basically just any platform. So I've got my song already set up. You just get your song like this, and once you're done with mixing, a reminder before you start mastering, make sure that all the work is done during mixing. Everything is done in mixing. Mastering will never make your song sound good. If the singer sang off key during mastering, that is not gonna be fixed. So you make sure that the recording is good. Then also make sure that the mixing is good. Most of the work is done during recording and mixing. The mastering is just final touches to your song or to your mix. Mastering is not something that has to fix issues. Mastering is basically finalizing and being able to make your mix loud enough. Really, mastering is all about just final touches that you do to your good mix. So most of the work is done during mixing. Then once you're done with your mixing, export or mix down your mix and send it down to your desktop in a WAV format. Then open up a new project and then get your WAV format which you mix down, and then just drag it over to Cubase and hit OK, and there you go. You will have that WAV file. So I have mine already set up, and this is the way I did it. And before you start mastering, there is something that you need to do. Make sure that your song plays in the same tempo where it was recorded in. Immediately you drag your WAV file into Cubase, make sure you set Cubase in the same tempo that your WAV file came out from. For example, my tempo is 100. I set the tempo of my song where it's supposed to be before I start mastering, because if you start mastering, most of the mastering plugins that you're gonna use are gonna work in the tempo of your song, and if the tempo is wrong, then you're gonna get a bad master. And that is a tip that you guys have to always remember. Let me just reduce the volume so you guys can take a listen. Press C for metronomy. So right there, my song is in the right key, and this is the way I mastered. Always, it's on Pro Mixing and Mastering channel, so you guys can check it out. Yeah, so from there, I don't do anything here. You don't have to do anything. Just come to the open mixer, and don't worry about this. This is my microphone. As you can see, my real volume is right here, and it's not even clipping. So come to open your mixer and come to output, stereo output. Don't go to input, go to output, and then that's where you load in your plugins. This is where my plugins are, and I want to show you guys how I did it. So I believe that you have FabFilter Pro, you have FabFilter bundles. I'm using FabFilter Limiter 2, and I'm also using Isotope Ozone 7 for mastering. Then I'm also using the other one, which is Ion Pusher. Then I'm using this loudness meter, this Yulin loudness meter 2. This is free. You can get this on Google. Just search for Yulin loudness meter 2 and it will pop up, and you will get yourself a free download. I will explain why I'm using this to where I want my mastering to be. So I have all these plugins. So basically I'm using 1, 2, 3 and a plus, which is a Yulin meter, just to check and see where I need to get the levels. I'm using FabFilter Pro Limiter. You use this to make sure that your song has that ceiling and also to give it that loudness. So my loudness is plus 7.0, so I just raised the gain to 7.0. That's my limiter, and I also use this to just make sure I don't clip no matter how loud my track is, like this.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million, I've never found even in a billion. A lot of people are not even serious, but God, you've always been serious.
So no matter how loud this is, I can clip there because of the limiter. Basically just that. That's what I did with the limiter. Very, very simple, right? Yes. Next, I used Isotope Ozone 7. Let me just open it up and see what I did. This is what I want to show you guys. I did a low cut. I removed all this. This is how it shows when it is playing.
This was what I go through, love.
So watch this. All this noise, all this frequency is unwanted in the speakers. Some of the speakers will pick this and some of the speakers may not. If you don't remove, your mix is not gonna sound clean. So I cut to about 20, 25, 26, 25, somewhere there. Watch what will happen. Don't cut too much. When you cut too much, your mix is gonna sound thinner, like this.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million, I've never found even in a billion.
So it might sound nice in this area, but when you take it out to speakers, to bigger speakers, it will just sound like tweeters. So make sure you just cut a little, like this.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million, I've never found even in a billion.
So right there I did a cut, and this is an EQ. If I wanted, I could have thrown an EQ, then thrown in another one, but Isotope Ozone 7 has an EQ, has dynamics, has exciter, has imager, has maximizer, so it's like all in one. So I have an EQ on my mastering chain, so an EQ is already inside FabFilter, and then maximizer is already inside FabFilter. I don't need to put maximizer, but if you don't have this, you can still use maximizer from Cubase. Cubase has maximizer. This is the one from Cubase. You can use this to improve your mix. It's basically the same as this one. Then if you don't have an EQ from Isotope, you can still get an EQ. Just go to an EQ and then use any EQ that you have, or you can use the stock EQ which comes within the inserts, the equalizer. You can use this to roll off that background bad frequency. If you don't have Isotope, you can still use imager like stereo enhancer. In Special, there is stereo enhancer in Cubase. So all these which are in Isotope are already there in Cubase. If you don't have an exciter, you can still use an external exciter. I sent you guys a very good exciter. You can use that exciter. I am using just the first band. The rest of the bands, I don't think I need a touch in the rest of the bands, unless if I felt like I needed a certain boost in a certain area. But for now, I left all this because I felt that my mix was already worked on during mixing time, so I don't need much on these other parts like the third band, the fifth band, and the seventh band. I don't need to touch all these. So you make sure that your mix is very good during mixing, and then during mastering you only touch just a little. Just like I said, it's just final touches that you're doing to your song, and that is mastering. Then dynamics, this is what I did.
This was what I go.
In dynamics, I raised a little bit of this to lift up the dynamics a little bit, and I'll show you why I lifted up that area. If you want to, you can also come on the presets. I came to the master bass preset, very good preset. This is the one that I'm using, master bass. So just go to presets, master bass, and it will give you this preset in Dynamics. Then Exciter, I didn't do anything apart from just throwing it there for a default reason. It comes with just a tiny little excitement. Then Imager, also I just threw it there just to give it that stereo expansion just a little bit, and this is the default. Then Maximizer, I gave it negative 3.0 dB just to lift it up a little bit. So the reason why I used Dynamics is because of this meter that I'm talking about. Usually streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, Loud, YouTube, Deezer, CDs, Club Play if you want to play in clubs, and SoundCloud, they have their loudness target. One of the targets that I was aiming for was for Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, Deezer. So I went for YouTube. If you don't follow this YouTube, this is why whenever you put an audio on YouTube, then it sounds like it's not the audio that you put there. Why? Because you didn't do it according to their specifications. So with YouTube, they want your loudness or your peak to be on negative 1.0, then your loudness to be on negative 13 to 15, then your dynamic range. So I want to talk about the dynamic range. The dynamic range is this dynamics. So if your final song has no dynamics, it's really gonna be reduced on YouTube and on Spotify, Amazon, and all that. Here is my loudness range.
This was what I go through.
So exactly 13, 12, somewhere there, I'm okay. Then true peak, they want it to be 0.1. I took it to 0.6. It's okay. Even when they try to reduce a little bit, my song is not gonna be really, really reduced. Then
this was what
my dynamic range is 13.3, which is okay. So I'm in that range where I can post my song on YouTube and YouTube will not destroy the quality. I can post my song on Spotify. Spotify won't be able to completely destroy the quality. The quality will still be there even when people stream it live. So this is the purpose for the loudness meter. And apart from that, this is gonna help you to make sure that whenever you export mastered song, you will be sure that the loudness is okay, the peak is okay, the dynamics are okay. You won't stress yourself by thinking, how did I get it right? This gets you right. But is it necessary? No. The simplest thing that I can tell you guys is make sure that your final mastering is loud enough to play anywhere. But this just helps you to be able to see exactly how things are, and being sure and confident that whenever your song plays anywhere in the club or anywhere, it's just gonna play. It's not gonna fail. So right now, let me teach you how to use this Yulin loudness meter in case you want to learn how to use it. So this is how the song was before I put any mastering plugins there, and before I raised the volume, it was like this.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion.
I want you to look at this, and I want you to look at what is happening. First, look at this.
This was what I go through, love.
I made sure that the levels are at least in green. Don't mix down something in readiness for mastering, which is somewhere here.
This was what I go through.
Around the red area. This is dangerous. So whenever you're exporting your mix down and getting it ready for mastering, make sure at least it is in the yellow.
This was what I go.
Why? So that you can have space to work around your song during mastering. So this is why I said look at this area. So away from that, then we come back to the Yulin loudness meter. This Yulin loudness meter, let's say YouTube wants us to hit -1 somewhere here. So this is why the first plugin that you've got to put is fab filter, a limiter. Let me take it to 0 so that we can try to hit this area, which is around -1 somewhere there. Just here, whenever it reaches 9, somewhere -9, then it is okay. It's loud enough like this.
This was what I go through.
So what I do is I start raising it slowly until until the Yulin meter reaches somewhere here.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched.
See what is happening to the arrow as I raise the volume.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion. A lot of people are not even serious, but God, you're always.
So check the loudness right there.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion. A lot of people are not even serious.
So with the loudness, I'm okay where it is. Then next, I go to isotope ozone. Then I put in the equalizer, dynamic exciter, imager, and maximizer. Then maximizer is always like this. It's always on 0.
This was what I go through.
Remember, I'm trying to get it in this range of -1. So I'm going to raise the maximizer volume again from the limiter to maximizer.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion. A lot of.
So what we're trying to get it is around somewhere there, -1 somewhere there.
This was what I go through, love.
And then to make sure that the maximizer is also cutting and chopping off those transients which are trying to jump up, and just to glue up the mix. Then from there I come to dynamics. Here is off. Dynamics is off. I'll just turn it off. Then I want you to look at the dynamic range here. What you're trying to get is 11, 12, and 13. The number 11, 12, and 13. That's what we are looking for.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion.
So it's around 10, 11 somewhere there. The dynamics are there due to mixing. So I'm just gonna turn this on and then pick a preset. This is what I did. Pick a preset, which is master bass, not this one, but this one, master bass, and see what happens.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million. I've never found even in a billion. A lot of people are not even serious.
So it's around 10, 11 now. Then next, see how simple this works. You just have to look at the numbers. I know sometimes when you look at the numbers, it might confuse you, but hey, it's simple. The next iron pusher is going to help me push it to where I want it to be. And then the loudness is 0 for now. Then I want to see what the dynamics will be, and then the loudness ratio has to be 13, 15 somewhere there. Here we go.
This was what I go through, love.
The dynamics have changed right now to 11.7 and 12.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million.
So the dynamics are coming out. Why? Because I pushed this. I've pushed this. Let me turn it off.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million.
There we go. Then this was on 0. On 0, the stereo imager. Watch what is going to happen to the loudness. Remember, want the loudness and also the dynamics to be on at least 13, 15 somewhere there.
This was what I go through.
I know you have a question. How do I know these numbers? It's simple. Just go on Google and Google get something which is dynamics or loudness meter or loudness specifications for Apple, YouTube. They are there. Then you can always refer to your mastering. Whenever you're mastering, it can be your reference. Like mine, I have mine right here on my smartphone, and I'm able to see what is happening to the loudness, because YouTube is here, everything is here, it's written, so I'm able to see that the specifications for YouTube are like this, for Amazon are like this. So you can also just Google it up on YouTube, and then you will be able to see what I'm talking about. Then you can master according to those numbers, so that you can always get it right. So these numbers are not coming from my head, it is exactly what YouTube requires you to have, and they have it specified, and they have these numbers on Google. Amazon has these numbers on Google, their specification, their limits, and everything. So it's easy when you follow it like this. And then I'm gonna raise up the pusher just a little bit.
This was what I go through, love. I've searched in a million, I've never found even in a billion.
So my peak loudness is 9.5, which is okay. Some streaming platforms want it on 9.0, and this is okay. Then my true peak has to be 0.1 or 1.0, and it is on 1.0. I'm satisfied with the way everything has turned out. Stereo imager is working there. The peak and volume is working right there. So this is for you just have to concentrate on the loudness, range, dynamic, and peak loudness, and then the true peak. That's all. And then from there, I just close everything up just like that. So basically, this is how Yulin loudness meter works, and this is gonna really be helpful to you, but not necessary. So that's the reason for dynamics, and this is why I raised them up. And then from there, maximizer, just to maximize and expand, give that punch to the song. This is why I added maximizer, and maximizer just lifted it up, and this is what maximizer is doing. This maximizer works like a limiter. It tries to level those peaks which are trying to jump up. So to catch those peaks, frequencies that are trying to jump up, I use a maximizer to control them. And also whenever the kick is a little bit hard, I use a maximizer to just make sure that the kick is reduced to a certain level in the range where other instruments are. Like, I want you guys to watch what will be happening right here.
This was what I go through, love.
These little, you can see maximizer is working on those other peaks which are trying to jump up. So whenever you want to level your song, and I'll show you an example at the end of the mastering how it looks like and how I love my wave file to be like. So maximizer also helps to shape the way the wave file finally comes out like this. Let me show you my final wave. This is I always use Adobe 1.5. I don't know, I've been using this to just see how I shaped my wave. So whenever you want to see how your wave is shaped, download Adobe Audition 1.5 and then just throw your wave there. When it opens up, you'll be able to see. It helps you know how loud your song is and how shaped your wave is. So this is the final mastering that I did. This is the final song, and this is how it looks like. The wave looks like in Adobe. I love the way the wave looks like. So you shape the wave using a limiter and maximizer. So this is how the wave looks like, and I shaped it up. I lifted up the volume, and then from there I have mushroom pusher, and what I did was to lift up the dynamics again. Stereo imagers help to make your sound bigger, like widens your sound, and this is very important. Whenever you're mastering, make sure you use widening plugins or an imager or stereo enhancers to just make your sound better and bring out the reverb and the other elements which were hidden in the mix. And then I came to Magic just to bring out some dynamics. I use this, and then the level is on 20.5, and then the body, just to bring the body back. Some of the body was not there, so I brought it back and gave it a 4.0. Then the low, just to give it that punch, the low end, to just lift that low end a little bit, I gave it a 5.0. And then I came to the push right here, where I increase the volume, and also to make sure that it doesn't clip, so I lifted it up to 1.5, then I left the rest the way they are. And then from there, finally I played it, I listened to it to check for any errors. I listen to the song. So what you do is listen to the song over and over, and when you are satisfied, then do come to file and then go to export, and then come to audio mix down and mix it down in MP3. When you do this, your song is just gonna play. Even when they try to reduce it and try to copy reduce, it's really not gonna be completely reduced. It's just gonna be reduced a little bit, because you did the best when it comes to mastering. And basically, this is the simplest way you can do mastering. Mastering is not something that you should be afraid of. It's just something that comes in when you want to do final touches. Always think of final touches whenever you want to do mastering. It's not something very hard, it's just final touches to your good mix. So if the mix is good, you don't even need much mastering. If the music is good, maybe you only need a limiter and just some throw in a compressor. So with this one, I realized I don't need a compressor. I already did the best that I could in mixing the song. So hope you guys loved this video. I'll see you in the next one.